Dennis mentioned you guys were going to try to get some feedback from the league on how they called the hit on Lou. Did that conversation take place, or did you guys?
Yeah, listen, I think to clarify some of that, there's very unique rules as it applies to the punter when he's moving or he drops the ball or he's not in the stationary, punter position. I think the first thing to clarify is we're very aware of the rules, very aware of all the rules and how they apply, because we have to know them as we face other punters as well. No different than this week. The punter we're facing this week is a guy that they've actually done a lot of the same things that we've done with the movement stuff. So when the punter is on the move in a rugby-style punt, basically he doesn't get afforded the protection he would if he's sitting back there in the pocket. However, there's still UNR, unnecessary roughness. He's much treated like a quarterback, so after one step or so, you can't hit him. He gets player protection for head, neck area. All the specialists do, no different than a quarterback. So, I think there was a narrative out there that we were upset that we thought it shouldn't have been roughing the punter. That's not what we were upset about. We were upset that we thought that really a UNR should have been called on 54 from Carolina. We thought it was an unnecessary act. He could have pulled off. And so, like I said,
you said something like there's a 2 seconds or there's a
well,
2 steps,
like I said, I think they officiate it more like when the punter's on the move, they officiate it more like if he was a quarterback. So if you imagine Lou throwing a pass in that situation, would that hit have been late? And it was close. I think you can probably debate whether or not. So we were upset more and then the other thing we were upset about is we got two different explanations on why they didn't call the flag. The first explanation was that they felt that the person got pushed into him. The second explanation was that, it was a little bit gray on the explanation on why they didn't throw a flag. But like I said, we know that he loses protection there for the roughing and the running into, but you still can't lay him out. Like I said, probably the best comparison is, imagine he's a quarterback on the move. So yeah, I mean, listen, the feedback. It wasn't a roughing or running into, but I think there was some disagreement on whether or not that should have been an unnecessary roughness on Carolina. So it's kind of the situation there.
Riz DeMarco, he's had a stupid score. He was on the hands team in Carolina. What has he added to the special team?
I got to be honest. I think DeMarco is probably the nicest surprise for me as a special teams coach this season. I really liked DeMarco coming out as a rookie. Really liked his college film on special teams, and obviously he had the setback, missed last year. And so, in OTAs and training camp and all that, you saw these flashes of a guy that we really thought could be that four-core player that we saw coming out, the vision that we saw coming out. And he's really lived up to that, to his credit. He's really done a nice job. He's really been a really well-rounded player. We use him in a lot of different aspects. I think he's in the top 3 on the team in special teams reps. We use him in a bunch of different areas: protection, blocking, covering. He's got a number of tackles. He's really brought a nice kind of juice to that unit, if you will. Really, like I said, kind of the player that we thought we were going to get, maybe just a year late with the injury. But very, very happy for him. He's a guy that really just grinds, keeps his mouth shut, works hard, does his job. He's been very efficient, and so he's really just become a really well-rounded special teams linebacker. Like some of the guys we've had here in the past, he's been able to replace. Andrew Dowell goes down, and that was a guy we were concerned about, filling, and he's really filled in a role like that. Craig Robertson, Andrew Dowell, guys that come to mind that we've had in the past. So DeMarco, really, really happy for him. Good things happen to people that work hard. It's good to see Nephi and DeMarco. Both those guys have really kind of been grinding all year on special teams, and both those guys come up with a huge play for us. So that was really nice to see.
Okay. What happened on the missed field goal?
On the missed field goal, to be honest with you, Nick, I would put that on all 3 guys. I think it wasn't really a clean operation. But, those 3 guys, it's something that they're working on constantly. It's a second short field goal we missed. It's funny. It's actually shorter than, it's not funny. It's ironic. It's shorter than a PAT. We had 4 PATs in the game, which are obviously all clean in that last game. But obviously, as we know, I've said this before, we've got to cash in on those short field goals. That's got to be 3 points. We got to walk away there with 3 points. So we got to get that figured out. So, listen, it's a work in progress. No different than any new operation. You look throughout the league, and the guys that are in new operations, there's going to be some work that goes into it. Listen, we've had 58 kicks. We've made 51 of them. If you include all the PATs, I mean, the PAT is really a 33-yard field goal. But those field goals that are inside of 50. Those are the ones that really, bother you the most. If you miss a 50-plus yard field goal, that's going to happen on occasion. But the ones, particularly the short ones and the ones that have been inside of 50 are the ones we got to get cleaned up. So, again, if you look throughout the league, I think a fair comp for Blake is going to be the guys that are first-year players. And I think if you look at those guys as well, he's in a very, they're very, very similar right now with the other three guys that are. I think there's 4 first-year rookies, and and those guys are going through some of the same, growing pains. So it's not uncommon. At the same time, we got to get it cleaned up. We can't have a 29-yard field goal. We don't walk away with 3 points. So it's got to happen.
Was there a punt? Nephi said it wasn't a punt block call. It was just more base cover or base block. Or base.
You talking about how they?
Block?
You talking about how they scored it or ruled it?
Yeah. Well, how you guys were covering that punt block?
Yeah, I think what Nephi's referring to is we didn't. We have rushes where maybe 7 or 8 guys are in the rush. We have guys where there's 2 or 3 guys in a rush. On that particular rush, I think we had 4 players that were in the rush. Obviously, Nephi was one of them. So I think what he's referring to wasn't an all-out block call. We had a couple of players that were kind of pumping out, playing the fake, if you will. So it wasn't an all-out 8-man or 7-man rush, maybe that you're accustomed to. So I think what Nephi's saying is a lot of times you're seeing block punts throughout the league coming on rushes where there's 7, 6, 7, 8 guys in the rush. That particular guy, there was 4 rushes on the inside. If you notice, we made a little bit of a personnel change there, had some bigger guys there in the A-gap. Carolina's a team that was known for a lot of fakes and things like that, so we had some different personnel, but kudos to Nephi. I saw him say, we talk about it all the time, we look throughout the league and you're always seeing guys come free on rushes maybe they didn't plan on coming free on. And so we have this mentality of, hey, if I am a rush on this particular play, you got to have the mindset, hey, they're going to turn me loose. And if you watch Nephi come out of the blocks, it's really textbook, great technique. As we know, it got scored as a fumble because the ball hadn't even hit the punter's foot yet. And so really, really great job by him getting out of there and really, really, obviously it was a huge play in the game.